Hello, guys. Th- Sorry. Welcome again to our new video here. We are going to do a standard daily event, and I'm here to present my deck that I'll be using. It's gonna be a blue, white, red, sometimes called Patriot, sometimes called an American Control, because of because it's because it's blue, white, red anyway. So, um, for me, it's a blue, white, red control, and then I'm going to present a few cards that I've used here. This is post Dragon's Maze, so we've included some cards from Dragon's Maze um, just to augment our deck and to adjust in such a way that we're not entirely left behind against our opponents there. So let's get going here before we enter our tournament. What we are going to be using is a control suite like this, and then we have a few finishers that will help us out during the late games. So the main purpose of the deck is to have answers. Definitely, the purpose here is to answer what threats your opponent has, and if you happen to go against aggro, then you have to answer their creatures and all the threats that they're doing. If you happen to go against control, then you have your control spells or denial spells like counter spells in order to gain the upper hand. Now, let's go very quickly here on the mana. So definitely a playset of the blue red suite there. It's gonna be Steam Vents 4 and then 4 Sulfur Falls. Sacred Foundry I have included as well. And okay, pardon me here. I just received my price. Hey, it's season 6. Okay, this is my price. Actually, I'm doing a late deck tech now. My standard daily event that I mentioned to you is already over. So we ended up being a 3-1. I kind of lied there for a second, but anyway, we were able to win some packs. So I'm just gonna close this one. Okay, just to revisit again, our mana is mainly blue, and generally you'll be seeing a lot of blue here. And the second mana is red, followed by white. All right. Sorry. It's a little bit balanced between red and white, but we need to give priority on white more because of Supreme Verdict and Post Cyborgs, which we'll visit later. We have more white spells than the red one. So it's basically a blue dominant deck, followed by white and then red. So you may notice that my priority here is to get my blue going. We have a playset of Steam Vents, Sulfur Falls, and Glacial. Sorry, the blue white lands. Hollow Fountain. I just kept this at a minimal because I kind of observed that I've been taking if I find myself in a situation I need early lands and need to have that land untapped. It pretty much gets a chunk of life for me. So I just balance it out and included a few basic lands here just for the purposes of having just enough basic lands to open the game. So we have some Glacier Fortress, three of them, Sacred Foundry, four of them, and the Hollow Fountain, only three of them. So that pretty much balance our mana requirements here. Even post Cyborg, you can rest assured that it is tuned already. I try to tune this as much as I can in terms of mana requirements, and I played close to numerous times of play testing. Although unfortunately I don't have a test group right now, and I'm just doing play testing within the tournament practice area, which is pretty sufficient. And I try to win streaks or try to win consecutive times without losing in order to really test my deck there. So in addition to that, we have a few techie or few additional. Okay, pardon me. I need to post the video first. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Yep. So we were discussing about the mana base there. Our mana base was kind of composed of the heavy blue and then followed by white and red. And we have some utility lands here, which is in the form of Desolate Lighthouse. Very, very useful. If you find yourself flooded, if you find yourself having problems, or trying to look for that key card, because given our deck is all about answering or all about responding to what our opponent plays, then digging through your deck is very much helpful to the help of your Desolate Lighthouse. It's not entirely a spell, and it's just a land, but the repetitive option there is really very much useful. Okay, we have a Cavern of Souls actually just to help out on Aurelia and some of the angels here. I used to run two Aurelias, but at the moment I'm trying to give the Aetherling a try. So I took out one Aurelia and brought in an Aetherling. I haven't really used the Aetherling much, so I'm still into much testing there. We have a playset of we have three Boros Reckoners, just enough to help us out on our aggro matches because this has the capability of just brick walling our opponents. Other than that, it's also a good beater and pretty much takes care of large creatures also, like Loxodon Scimiters, Thragtusk, and other stuffs that is getting problematic. Yeah, that's pretty much the role of our Boros Reckoner there. This was not during, this was not available during our previous deck tech, but I kind of included it for the purposes that I want to cut on Supreme Verdict, but still have the utility to have a good chance against aggro matchups. All right, we are running. This is a DGM card, I believe. It's a War Leader Series. Now I have to upload this card. It's really really useful, especially against aggro where you're grasping for life gain. It is an instant speed card that deals 4 damage, and your player, or sorry, you will gain 4 life out of it. So you can use it if you have the upper advantage and you're trying to burn the hell out of your opponent. It happens sometimes. It's a really solid damage dealer. It can take out most of the problem cards like Loxodon Smiter, other 4 toughness creature, and the main purpose that I brought it here, it's an instant speed answer to a Sire of Sanity, which is insanely being used by a lot of people right now that is running Rakdos or at least a form of Rakdos on their deck. If you have Sire of Sanity, you might, I mean, gaining card advantage on our deck is not really hard, but losing a lot of it is just gonna be a total wreck for us. So, Sire of Sanity that resolves, and we don't have an answer before that end of turn comes in, it's gonna be very it's gonna be very very hard for us to recover from that. And most of the times we don't have creatures on the field, and the Sire of Sanity is just gonna start bashing through our grounds there. Not to mention, it is also very useful against Restoration Angel and Aurelia, other notable creatures that has 4 toughness. So War Leader's Helix, that's the card that we included from the Dragon's Maze um, pool. Now, another Dragon's Maze card here is a Turn and Burn. One of my favorites as well. Against aggro, it's an easy 2 for 1. If they happen to attack, you can just turn one of their creatures and block one of their creatures, turn it, and then burn the other because most of their creatures are just lie within the 1 to 2 toughness range. Just be very careful not to dive or become a victim of that Gore Clan Rampager. So if ever you want to 2-for-1 them with a turn and burn, just play around Gore Clan Rampager first and see if they have the capability of casting that. It works well also against Star of Sanity because it will turn your opponent's creature to a 0/1 creature first, and then you get to burn it. Again, another way for us to answer even bigger threats like Griselbrand or other big creatures which our opponents or sorry opponent might just bring, and we don't have an answer because sometimes a creature might just get past us if it happens to have a Cavern of Souls, and we won't be able to counter that. And if it's on the field and we don't have any burn spells big enough to take out the creature, then this is where turn and burn comes in. Just hoping that creature doesn't have hexproof because nothing really kills hexproof, right? Apart from a board wife. So we included a couple of that. I've seen decks running four, even three of them. That's good. That's really good. Given at my situation during my testing and my tuning, I think two is good enough for me. In order to fuse this, you need 5 mana, and I find myself in a situation sometimes that I'd rather have a Searing Spear to take out um, Flint of Boars or Hell Riders, for example, other than a two damage thing here. Okay, so that's it. Is a charm very very adept and very very useful because it not just only acts as a burn spell against opponents creatures. It also lets you counter them. Now, if you happen to encounter other opponents that has X spells like Sphinx's Revelation, um, what else? The Rakdos Return, and even some Mind Grinds or something. Normally they tap out actually, and they don't really play around your card unless you have Dissipate Mana up. And most of the time they get surprised by an Easy Charm, which is unexpectedly gonna take them on. Sometimes, if you have 2 mana up, they will try to play around your syncopate and leave 1 mana open. But still, if you have Izzet Charm, then they won't be able to pay it because it says here that they require two colorless. And of course, the last utility there would be to draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Many times have saved me when I was trying to find answers or trying to dig lands when I get land short. And Azur's Charm, pretty basic. It gives us lifelink against Agros. Um, the more potent um, ability there is to disrupt your opponent's card draw and put a creature on top of it, on top of their library. So if you have a feeling that you're gonna win the game and you don't want to your opponent to draw his key card, you can always use Azura's Charm to bring in to put in a blocker and attacker on top of his deck. And at the same time, it has cycle ability wherein you can draw a card. If you don't really need Azura's Charm, you can just draw a card from it, thinning out your deck a little better. And if at some point you need it, you have Snapcaster Mage to just recast it from your grave. So pretty solid card. I can't say enough about it because a lot of pro players really prefer this, and I don't really blame them. And that's the reason why we are running four of them here. We have a detention spear, just another answer in case something or an opponent get to play around our counter spells, and a key card like a planeswalker or some enchantment, powerful enchantments like assemble the legion, which can just win by itself. So we just have one here in order to stabilize the ground. That being said, it's also a good answer against Falcon Rat Aristocrats, especially if they come in multiples. Other key cards like Voice of Resurgence, which is gaining some popularity now. Most of the time, your fast aggro opponent play in multiples of them. Tokens, especially if they come in multiples or if a lot of tokens has been generated, this could be your one way out of that, apart from a board wipe. Supreme Verdict, of course, board wipe. We only included two because, okay, sorry guys. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Another call from the office there. So just going back to our deck tech here, we are on the Azurius Charm part and Supreme Verdict, just a solid board wipe. That being said, we only included two because some control decks only include one. For the purposes that we have some good amount of removal and Boros Reckoner is there as well. So post board where we can just bring in a couple more, and I find myself pretty okay with that. So apart from that, we also have a Sphinx's Revelation. I'm running 3 copies at the moment. 4 is just a little bit too much to me, especially if I'm doing going against aggro, because Sphinxes is not really that good against aggro. You need to have a lot more turns and a lot more lands in order to maximize this one. That being said, it's really good against mid-range decks and control decks. So it's really excellent. It can refill your hand, and most probably one of the best cards within the RTR block. Searing Spear, a lot of people was saying Searing Spear is no longer needed, and we all need to run Pillar of Flame because of Voice of Resurgence. That is really valid. Although I think with the current meta, it's still very much useful. Not to mention, it's a very good burn in the face of your opponent or Planeswalker. That 3 damage is still a key. Sorry, 3 damage is still a key card or a key um, number there, because it can still take out hasty creatures like Flint of Boar, Olivia Voldaren if he doesn't have anything to ping, and then Hell Rider for some reason that we still have a lot of RDW running those. So any 3 toughness creatures are still pretty much lingering, and switching to a 2 damage burn is still I'm not really sure if it's still optimal or at least good enough to replace our Searing Spear here. So I kind of included two of them, and it saved me a lot, won me a lot of matches just burning the face of my opponent, and at the same time taking care of those hasty creatures. We have a couple of Ogre Bolas. I used to run three, but at some point I kind of not need them, and you have to be very careful on um, casting him. If you're really looking for spells and you have much lands on your current situation or at least on your hand, then it's good to run Ogre of Bolas. But if you are having problems and you are at least tight on the mana, you don't need to run this because it might just break your lands, and it might just become more of a problem than a solution. That being said, if I'm trying to dig for an answer, he sometimes does the job, and not to mention he has 3 toughness, which is really great against aggro decks. Snapcaster Mage, one of the heart of the deck. Given that all our answers are pretty much spells here, Snapcaster just takes care of the job because sometimes we only find ourselves having 1 copy of any of the removals that we have. Snapcaster's flashback still very good, and he hasn't really gone down the drain there. Snapcaster is still one of the best cards in our deck here. There's also a Think Twice. One copy only because I find it pretty slow at the moment. I'm not really digging much of an answers here. Azur's Charm along with Izzet Charm sometimes does the job. Think Twice is still not bad. It thins out your deck in such a way that you can get 2 cards from it. But other than that, I don't want to be Think Twicing a lot if my opponent is aggro. In control decks, it's really good. During mid range, if the opponent is somehow fast on his early threats, then having think twice might just be contradicting with your counter spells here. So there we have three counter spells main board, which is in the form of dissipate, two of them, and then a syncopate. Pretty straightforward. Dissipate can exile, and it's just a hard counter about just about everything, especially against reanimator decks. Syncopate is the same thing, although you need to be very careful and check out if your opponent has the capability to pay the mana. Um, so the newest addition is an Etherling. This is a Dragon's Mace card. It really works well against control decks. I might just bring in Aurelia again and then just place Etherling on the sideboard. Because against aggro, I kind of noticed that it is not really performing well. Although it's really a solid card. Against mid range is just about um, very good because it can exile. You can exile it when removals are being used upon it, and then not to mention it has unblockable ability, and you can get to pump. So it's really a very solid card. I'm still on the test phase for Etherling, but it has yielded me some good results. Now, on to our angels here. I kind of skipped Aurelia earlier. So, Restoration Angel, um, can say much about it because it has really done its part. And when this cycles out and um, it leaves the standard format, I'm just gonna be very sad because this is one of my favorite cards, to be honest. The flash ability is alone um, can play around removals, and it can also save your guys when you do a blink on them. It can reoccur whatever good blink effects that your guys have. Thragtas, for example, but we're not running Thragtas here. But for Snapcaster, if you want additional spells to flashback, she is the key there. Um, Still very much a solid creature. I wanted to run four of them here, but I kind of needed more spells. So three is much better and more dynamic in my opinion. So key combos that I normally do, I I used to cast her during end of turn of my opponent in order to bait for a counter spell if they want to counter this, or sometimes if I really need that additional damage, I will flash this in during the end of turn of my opponent and then just cast in an Aurelia during my turn, and that leaves solid 12 damage if not answered. So that's pretty much Restoration Angel there. Not really much there to say, but apart from it being a very solid card. Last one is Aurelia. Aurelia being our main win condition. When Etherling was not yet there for testing, I used to run two Aurelias, and I might just bring in another Aurelia here. Very good card, very strong game finisher. A lot of people says or will say that if the casting cost is higher than 5, then it better win you the game. And Aurelia pretty much does that. She delivers. She gives an extra attack, and she's hasty, vigilant as well. So you don't need to be worrying attacking that much because you leave a blocker behind. So pretty much a lot of or probably most of my wins comes from Aurelia, the war leader, and I'm very thankful that this has become a part of my deck here. So that's our main board there, guys. So I hope um, you're able to comprehend what pretty much a UWR runs. There are some variations of this. You are free to tweak and then test for yourselves. But just to assure you, I have tested it for a month now, and probably longer. Without Dragon's Mace coming into the picture, I've been already using UWR as well there. So let's go here now to the sideboard very quickly here. We have a couple of Purify the Grave still for animator purposes. I might just consider also bring in a Rest in Peace in exchange for them, but Purify the Grave just pretty much do the job as well. And not to mention it's an instant and you can um, flash it back whenever you need it. The reason I am including Purify the Grave aside from Rest in Peace is because of my Snapcaster Mage. Purify the Grave gives me the option to still play Snapcaster Mage and bounce back or flashback my spells without having to worry that my graveyard will be exiled or anything of that kind. And at the same time, it doesn't only limit me to our Reanimator deck where Rest in Peace normally comes in. It can also work as a if you happen to see your opponent just doing a lot of snap casting. Purify the Grave sometimes is worth bringing in actually because you can remove the spell that they're trying to flashback through Snapcaster Mage there. Anyway, another new card here, Renounce the Guilds. Very, very solid card. It lets your opponent to sacrifice a multicolor permanent, which is a lot at the moment. You have a lot of threats going on in the form of Boros Reckoner, Sire of Sanity in particular. I really hate that card to be honest. Prime Seeker Sagana. And we have to remember, it is not only limited to creatures. It says here that it's multicolor permanent, so it can also take care of planeswalkers that multicolor planeswalkers that your opponents has. Ral Zarek, Sorin, a lot of those, and also sometimes an answer to an opponent's detention spear. So if you happen to have an important spell or an important permanent that just got exiled by a detention sphere, then this is a pretty much good response to that. Terminus, of course, and our Supreme Verdict, just an addition to the board wipes that we have earlier. Terminus I included apart from, in place of a second or a fourth verdict there because sometimes you just need to have Terminus. Uh, During your fourth turn, you might just be dead, and miracling for the purposes of miracling it against multiple Burning Tree emissaries and very fast creature or undying creatures for that matter that is on the field. Not to mention the Falconrat aristocrats and the other aristocrats that are very, very resilient to board wipes. Then, or at times, which is no longer persisting, but you might encounter them. Predator Ooze decks. This is pretty much one of those answers. Just a couple of negates, additional counter spell there. I used to run this spell as well, but negates sometimes just do the job for us, and you just have to time it well against the haymaker spells of your opponent. Clone here is one of our answers to some some key creatures that your opponents has. That being said, legendary creatures in the form of Guys of Saint Raph, Olivia Voldaren also, which you can also kill using your Renounce the Guilds. But Clone is just pretty much a stable card against them. Sometimes, if you are battling some really strong decks like Bant or Reanimator, for example, you can get to copy their Angel of Serenity and just reverse the game. Sometimes you can use that. Other than that, Clone is just pretty much a solid card. Some decks I've seen run three of them, but for my case, I given that I have other options here, I'm pretty much pleased to just run a couple of clones there. Pillar of Flame, pretty unusual, right? But sometimes you just need to remove problem cards like Gravecrawler or uh, Gerald's Messenger. So um, our removal suite might not be in the position to do that without having to use or having two for one as this is where Pillar of Flame comes in. It's really very useful. We just have one copy, just enough to squeeze in within our sideboard here because we have Snapcaster as well. And normally they don't really bring in two to three problematic creatures like that unless it's really a theme deck or something that just unfortunate on your side. Um, that being said, it's very, very useful. And of course, with the Voice of Resurgence coming into the picture now, Pillar of Flame is really must have during those matchups. Okay, Thundermaw Hellkite comes in during our control matchup. Mid-range sometimes, you can do that. But definitely not against aggro. I don't really see us using this against them. But if you happen to be battling Lingering Souls heavy deck, this is such a powerhouse against it. And if you blink it with your Restoration Angel, then it just have a another reoccurrence of it. It negates or it at least gives you a turn when it comes in to just bash in there despite your opponents having flyers because he's just gonna tap those. Just finishing out here, we have just an extra Dissension Spear there in order for us to answer some more viable threats. Threats are normally this usually comes in either an aggro and either against aggro or control decks. Izzet Staticaster now is really very good against aggro, especially against token 1/1 tokens deck like Lingering Souls, Assemble the Legion, Mirror, and pretty much a lot of it. Provided also that aggro decks like RDW and some Naya humans in some cases have one toughness creature, then is it stack after just pretty much do the job there. You can also have some combos going like you use it once and then blink it with your Restoration Angel and use it again, and then all of a sudden you just killed a two toughness creature already. So stuffs like that you can use. Very useful card, very solid blocker. I like the flash ability a lot because it just catch them off guard sometimes. Where during battle, if you happen to damage your opponent or the creature's opponent and they are just one damage away from dying, you can always flash and is a static caster to finish out the job. Last card would be our Assemble the Legion, which is pretty much can win the game by itself if not answered. I have a desire to place it on the main board, at least a couple of them, but at the moment I don't have the slot yet. But I've seen a lot of decks, including mine, that just really devastates a lot of control matchups, mid-range matchups, sometimes even aggro when they need that additional kick. Assemble the Legion really does the job for you. Hasty creatures at 1/1 who could really say no to that, and their numbers just gets bigger and bigger, and until to the point that you have enough power to just end the game there. Anyway, that composes of our blue, white, red deck. So again, we went 3-1 during our latest daily tournament. And I'm hoping to bring this in again on another daily tournament standard and hopefully do well. We've had some problems during our matches there because we just got flooded all throughout we without having spells, so that could be some problem sometimes. Other than that, it should be very very good against either control or aggro deck. So that's it guys. I hope you like our little deck tech here. So if you have any suggestions or any key cards that you want me to consider, just feel free to leave a comment and let me know. I'm really reachable and I'm really open to suggestions. Again, thank you for watching, and hopefully you pick up something here. And we will see you on our next video. And hope you like the round 1 to 4 of our standard daily, which I will be posting as well for your reference. Okay, guys, thank you, and good luck to your Magic the Gathering tournaments. Bye for now.